Today, we're talking about how to get your first listing in real estate. Congratulations on getting your real estate license. That is one of the hardest steps to accomplish in the real estate world. But guess what? Now there's an even harder step, which is getting your first listing. And believe me, once you get your first listing in the industry, things really start to unlock for yourself. You're going to be able to lead generate off of that listing. You'll get instant credibility on that street. You'll be able to post about that listing on your social media, and it's going to give you a lot more credibility moving forward and also a big boost in confidence. I still remember getting my first listing in real estate, and it was the best thing to advertise my business. It was the best thing to try to generate some leads for that listing specifically. And it was also a billboard, it was a sign in the lawn, and people started to know that I was selling real estate. So, it's a great objective to have if you're just getting your license or you're a few months in and you're ready to get that first listing. Don't minimize the fact that having an objective like that is super important. If you're just floating around the office hoping for stuff to happen, a buyer or a seller, whatever may come, I've got two very effective ways to make that happen. You're going to want to stick around for my tips number 3 and 4 at the end of the video because they really will make a difference and they'll make your life a lot easier in real estate. Okay, so tip number 1, you just got into the real estate world. You obviously weren't born yesterday, so you still know a lot of people in your community. You still have friends, you have parents of friends, you've got family, and I think that's where you should start. You should definitely dive into your sphere of influence. And I'm not talking about building a database of your top thousand people that what you want to do is you want to put down on a piece of paper the top 12 people that you think would refer you business, or they would refer you to one of their friends if the opportunity arose for them. Your parents, your best friends, people that you know that buy and sell real estate, people that you know that might be thinking about moving out of the city at some point. Just make a short list. Don't make it too long. Once you're a few years into the business and you're already established, I recommend bumping up that number to 36 AAA clients in your database. But since you're starting out, just aim for 12. It's going to make it easier and it's going to get you to the next step, which is action items to sort of mine that database and give value to people that are in the database in order to help them understand that you're a qualified real estate agent and you're ready to get the ball rolling. So once you have that list, what I like to do is I like to look at that person's address. Let's say it's your Uncle Bob and your Uncle Bob lives at 123 Main Street. What I like to do is I like to go on the MLS. I like to find what's active around Uncle Bob's house, what has sold near his property in the last few months. And then I print that stuff off and I write them a nice handwritten note and I say, "Hey, Uncle Bob, I noticed that your neighbor's house was just listed for 860 and I noticed that your neighbor's property just sold for 650. Interesting what the market is doing in your area. Thought you might want to know." That's going to do a few things. It's going to let your family member that, hey, you're doing your thing in the real estate world, you're doing research in the area, so it bumps up your credibility immediately. Yes, family will want to support you, but they'll want to know that you are an active real estate agent before they start to do so. And that family member or that person that you send the letter out to might be out cutting the grass or shoveling the snow if it's in the winter months in the north. And they'll bump into a neighbor and they'll say, "Hey, did you know that such and such house sold for this price a few months ago? They were listed at this much and went for that. It went for that much. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Oh, how did you get that information? Oh, well, my nephew or my niece is in real estate." And then those people that you've sent the information to, they become walking billboards for your business. So you're sort of creating little walking billboards for yourself throughout your city. And that could really result in some good referrals coming back your way. And it's low hanging fruit, in my opinion. Right now, I am carrying lots of inventory, over 20 listings, but in times where it's a bit slower for myself, this is a tactic I still go back to even after 20 years in the business. If I'm low on inventory, I'll look at what's happening in the market and then I'll update my top people in my sphere of influence. And it always gives a good return on my time. That tip of sending it through the mail, I mean, that instantly makes you stand out. We're in this age of online and podcasting and doing everything with AI, but going back to the basics sometimes makes you stand out because nobody else is doing it. So that's one that I highly recommend. Number two, It's one that's a bit scary. It's one that, if you're not too comfortable with sales yet, it might force you to get out of your comfort zone. I've done it a lot, and it would be a just listed or just sold door knocking campaign. And I remember my first time going out to door knock. This would have been 20 years ago. I went out to the doors that I wanted to knock. I parked my car. I looked at those doors and I was terrified. I ended up not getting out of my car, and I went back to the office. The next day, I got my courage back, and then I started door knocking. I went back to the same street, and 4 or 5 doors in, I met this little couple, and turns out that they were just talking about selling their house, for the past few days, and ended up getting that listing. And then I was hooked right then and there. I put a lot of effort into it, and my script was super simple. I was working at a busy brokerage back then. A few of my colleagues had listings in the area, and I said, "Hi, I'm Martin. I'm a local real estate agent. One of my colleagues just listed a house next door. Are you interested in finding more about it, or maybe knowing how much it will sell for once it does get an offer?" Everybody's curious about that stuff. You're not really there to sell them anything. And then we just got into a conversation. It turns out that those people were actually looking to list their house, listed it, sold it a few weeks later. And that's how I made my first commission off of a listing. So I would recommend that if you're in a busy office, ask around at your colleagues that do have a lot of inventory. Just say, "Hey, can I go and door knock around your new listing? I'm going to let the neighbors know that." There's this new listing that's on the market. And if they're looking for information, I'll give it to them. It's a service added value to that listing agent because the neighbors will know about the listing. And if you've got any, good colleagues in the office, they should not mind that you do that at all. If you're in my area, go right ahead. Give me a call. Go door knock the area. It's a listing that's there to be sold. And the people that you're door knocking in that area, they might even know somebody that wants to buy that property. So not only are you trying to lead generate for a listing, but you also might generate a buyer just by prospecting for a listing. Two things to do. Of course, there's a gazillion things that you could do, but those are the two most efficient. Really mine that database. It's low hanging fruit. It's there. The people already know you. And number two, go and door knock a bit. And I'm not talking about going out and telling yourself that you'll door knock 100 doors. Of course, I've done that in the past, but to get started, just do 5 doors to the left, 5 doors to the right, and then maybe 5 doors in front of the property, and just get a hang of it, right? And try to book it in your schedule and make it consistent. And in no time, you'll find yourself listing your first property. And then it's just going to be like a snowball effect. Your career will take off from that point. All right. Those are the two things to do. A few things that you want to do in order to increase your conversion rate. So once you get an opportunity, it's up to you to close that opportunity, show value to the client, show them why you're the best. And for that, I've got a video. It's called Pre-Qualifying Seller Questions. I'll put a link in the video so you can go watch it. And the other tip that I have for you is that you need to keep your schedule in order. We get busy, we get bombarded with a bunch of new ideas all the time. We get colleagues that want to, chit chat around the office, and that's fine. That's part of the culture. And, a good social circle at the office can have its benefits, but there's times that you need to lock in. And for you, if that time is coming into the office, making sure you're there at 9 a.m. or whatever the time is, just find a quiet spot and have that time be your designated lead generation time. If you're starting out in the industry, I recommend that you put more time into that, maybe 4 times a week, block off 90 minutes, and that's going to give you a full 6 hours of lead generation per week, right? So book it in your calendar. I'll make a link to my time blocking video here also. You can look at that, and that's good information for you also. Last thing I'd like to say is this is my second week back for a little sprint on my YouTube channel. We had a great podcast last week. I spoke with Lucas Smith, one of the busy realtors here in my region. We co-list a lot of stuff. We talk about how to generate opportunities. We've got a little segment in there for the 5 things to do as a new real estate agent. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll put a link to that video here. As always, if you've got comments, if you've got anything that you'd like me to cover, I love sharing knowledge with you guys. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe for more content. And let's start a discussion in the comment section down below. What was your way to generate your first listing lead in real estate? And is it still a tactic that you use today for those that are experienced? And if you try any of these tactics and they work, come back here. Let us know that they worked. I'm sure that they will because I've used them quite often myself. All right, that's it for me this week. I will see you guys next week for some more content and looking forward to communicate with you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.